Hey YouTube, I don't know if you can tell, I've been sick for a couple of days. Kind of on the downside of it now, so hopefully I'm going to go. Just haven't been able to sleep, really cold, chilled, very congested, still am, nauseous, aches and pains, just general tiredness. I'm picking up some stuff here. Anyway, glad you're here. Thanks for joining me once again. I think I'm going to do a random grab of stuff off my Criterion shelf. I'm going to go for the Blu-rays this time, and let's see here. I'll let you know if I've watched it, if I have, what I thought of it, and so on. So let me grab a stack here and let you know what's what. I've got quite a few here I haven't watched. I can see that already. I purchased this one a little while ago, and I have not watched it yet. It is Kenito Shindo's Kuroniko. It's a poetic and atmospheric horror fable set in a village in war-torn feudal Japan where malevolent spirits are ripping out the throats of itinerant samurai. When a military hero is dispatched to confront the unseen force, he finds that he must struggle with personal demons as well. From Kenito Shindo, director of the similarly terrifying Onibaba, Kuroniko, aka also called Black Cat, is a spectacular, eerie Twilight tale with a surprising feminist angle evoked through ghostly special effects and exquisite cinematography. So that is a little ghost there. I've been meaning to watch this one, I just haven't yet, so it's that one. Another one I haven't watched yet is a movie by Georges Franju. It is in French, naturally, as you might have guessed from the name. This is a dual format Blu-ray DVD edition of Judex. Interesting cover. And what this is about is it's an effortlessly cool crime caper directed by Georges Franju. It's a marvel of dexterous plotting and visual invention. Conceived as an homage to Louis Foulad's 1916 cult silent serial of the same name, Judex kicks off with the mysterious kidnapping of a corrupt banker by a shadowy crime fighter and spins out into a thrillingly complex web of deceptions, combining stylish 60s modernism with silent cinema touches and even a few unexpected sci-fi accents. Judex is a delightful bit of pulp fiction and a testament to the art of illusion. Kind of cool. Cool cover. Judex, haven't watched that one either. Never even opened this one, and I probably will. This one's out of print, and I tend to keep the out of print ones in the shrink wrap until I decide I really want to watch it. Because I might want to sell it and make a profit when they become that much of a thing. I don't buy movies solely to make a profit. I bought this movie because I was interested in it, but I hadn't got a chance to watch it. And if the price goes up, sometimes I have to weigh out, is it worth holding on to a movie that's $60 or $70 that I paid $30 for or $20 for? Is it worth that much more to me to have it? And I'm sure all of you weigh out that same sort of thing. This one is Howard's End by James Ivory. And it's got an all-star cast. Anthony Hopkins, Vanessa Redgrave. I mean, this is a 142-minute 1992 movie, color surround sound. Obviously I haven't watched it, and I haven't seen it either. But it's the pinnacle of the decades-long collaboration between producer Ishmael Merchant and director James Ivory. Howard's End is a luminous vision of E.M. Forster's cutting 1910 novel about class divisions in Edwardian England. Emma Thompson, also in this, won an Academy Award for her dynamic portrayal of Margaret Schlegel, a flighty yet compassionate middle-class intellectual whose friendship with the dying wife, Vanessa Redgrave, of the rich capitalist Henry Wilcox, Anthony Hopkins, commences an intricately woven tale of money, love, and death that encompasses the country's highest and lowest social echelons. With a brilliant layered script by Ruth Prawler Jabavala, your guess is as good as mine, who also won an Oscar, and a roster of gripping performances, Howard's End is a work of both great beauty and vivid darkness, and one of cinema's best literary adaptations. With a wealth of Blu-ray extra edition features on the back here, including high definition digital transfer. 50-minute documentary about the history of Merchant Ivory Productions, the design of Howard's End, building Howard's End, a documentary featuring interviews with the director and various stars, including Helena Bonham Carter is in this. Yeah. Anyway, I got to decide on this one. I haven't watched this one either, so 3 in a row I haven't watched. Let's get to one I have. And here we go. I have watched this one. In fact, we're going to be on a roll here for a little bit. This next one I have watched and love it. It's one of my favorite films by Akira Kurosawa. And this is Spy Number 24, but it was one of my favorite numbers, by the way. It's High and Low. This is a great movie. It's the story of a wealthy businessman played by Toshiro Mifune, who also oftentimes plays a samurai. You may recognize him from a number of different samurai movies that Kurosawa has done. Anyway, he stars as a Kingo Gando, wealthy industrialist, whose family becomes the target of a cold-blooded kidnapper. What happens is they kidnap a child, and he wants to get this child back at any cost, and there is a cost to it. I don't know if it's $5 million or $2 million or whatever the number was, but it's a big number for 19 whatever when this was come out. This came out in 1963. It was a big number for 1963, whatever the dollar amount was. I don't remember, but great movie, high tension. Really love this movie. A brilliant photography in it. I think the drama is excellent. And one of the things they say about Kurosawa is that he didn't always do compassion well. I don't agree with that. This is a good movie to illustrate that. I liked High and Low quite a bit. Next one, probably one of the most controversial movies ever made, and certainly one of the most controversial movies on the Criterion Collection. And I really like this movie. I did a review on it where I called it was reviewing the worst movie ever made, but that's what this has been called. I don't agree with it. It's 216 minutes long. It's from 1980. It bankrupted a studio, or just about bankrupted a studio. Tons of extras on this. There's 2 discs to it. The first disc is the restored restoration of his original cut of the film. 5.1 surround soundtrack with also a DTS HD master audio. Disc 2 is a illustrated audio interview with Camino and producer Joanne Corelli. New interviews, so on and so forth. And there's a very thick booklet in this as well. I'm talking about Heaven's Gate, starring Chris Christopherson. It's a great film. Chris Christopherson's good in it. I was just getting caught up in the cast here. Christopher Walken, John Hurt, Sam Waterston, Jeff Bridges, Joseph Cotton. I mean, it's just got a wonderful cast. It's beautifully shot. I mean, it really is extremely cinematic. Some of the scenes of the train going across the country, as you enter into a town and you see the train and the people, it really captures the spirit of what was 1890s Wyoming. Here's a general plot. Well, I'll read the back. It's a breathtaking description of the promise and perils of America's Western expansion. Heaven's Gate, directed by Michael Cimino, is among Hollywood's most ambitious and unorthodox epics. Chris Christopherson brings his weathered sensuality to the role of a Harvard graduate who relocates to Wyoming as a federal marshal. There he learns of a government-sanctioned plot by cattle barons to kill the area's European settlers for their land. The resulting battle is based on the bloody real-life Johnson County War of 1892. Google that one if you will. Also starred a bunch of other people. It's a savage and ravishingly shot take on Western movie lore. This release presents the full director's cut, letting viewers today see Cimino's potent original version. Well, it's breathtaking. the scene that reenacted the Johnson County War of 1892 is graphic and interesting. There's a couple of really graphic scenes of bloodshed. These immigrants came here to Wyoming and had this land, and other people decided to take it. They wanted the land, and so they killed them. And then Christopherson gets involved, and he wants to do the right thing. It's just an interesting movie. I liked it. It's a slow-moving movie, so you're going to have 216 minutes, and maybe then some. You might want to pause it periodically as you go through it. It moves slow. A lot of slow camera shots. A scene as a dance scene that shows us like this big barn dance type of thing in the small town, but it really lets you know what it was like back then in 1890s. So to recreate that kind of sense of small town West, I think Camino did an excellent job. This movie is highly acclaimed in France. I think they did a re-showing of this not all that long ago in France, and with Camino attending, and he was like a god, which he never was treated like that for this film. But I highly recommend this one to see this movie that almost bankrupted a studio. It cost a lot of money. It overran. It was very expensive to shoot it. They booked a lot on it, and it almost caused the studio's collapse because of all the money they pushed into this thing, and he got very little back. But I like it. Heaven's Gate. This is an interesting movie. Heavy case. Really thick booklet. Another dual format edition, Blu-ray and DVD. This is approved by Peter Davis, who's the director. Interesting cover on this, I think. This is Hearts and Minds. Turn it the other way too, so you can see the American soldier there, and the Vietnamese soldier there, or Vietnamese countryman there. This is a documentary, 112 minutes from 1974, of the Vietnam War. What it says about it is it's a startling and courageous film. Peter Davis's landmark 1974 documentary, Hearts and Minds, unflinchingly confronted the United States' involvement in Vietnam at the height of the controversy that surrounded it. Using a wealth of sources, from interviews to newsreels to footage of the conflict and the upheaval it occasioned on the home front, Davis constructs a powerfully persuasive, affecting picture of the disastrous effects of war. It's explosive and wrenching, and Hearts and Minds is an overwhelming emotional experience and the most important nonfiction film ever made about this devastating period in history. So it's really good. It's got all sorts of interviews with a presidential advisor at that time, obviously George Ball, broadcast journalist David Brinkley, French journalist and historian Philippe de Villiers, and political activist Tony Russo. Additional excerpts from General William Westmoreland's interview, and so on. It's on one Blu-ray and 2 DVDs. All the contents on both. And a very thick booklet inside. I don't know if you can get the thickness of that booklet. It's pretty thick. Yeah, it's a beautiful movie. Liked it a lot. Happy to have the dual format edition. A lot of times what I'll do with these dual format editions is sell the DVD on eBay without the case and the booklet, and most of the time I'll make most of the money towards it. For instance, I paid $19.99 for this on the 50% off Barnes & Noble sale. It's normally $39.99. And so if I can get $15 for the DVD, plus $3 shipping or whatever, I'm pretty darn close to the price of what I paid for it. So I've done that a couple times and may do that again. That one, I don't know. I've seen this, but I haven't seen the Criterion version. So I guess I don't know how to answer it. I guess I've seen it, but not recently. The other ones I said I haven't seen, period. This is a great movie. It's The Great Dictator by Charlie Chaplin. It's in black and white. It's in English. And it is not silent. In this controversial masterpiece, The Great Dictator, Charlie Chaplin offers both a cutting caricature of Adolf Hitler and a sly tweaking of his own comic persona, the Little Tramp. Chaplin, in his first pure talkie, brings a sublime physicality to two roles: the cruel yet clownish Tomanian dictator and the kindly Jewish barber who was mistaken for him. Featuring a couple people in stellar supporting turns, the great dictator boldly going after the fascist leader before the United States official entry into World War II is an audacious amalgam of politics and slapstick that culminates in Chaplin's famously impassioned speech. So you've got the Little Tramp, and then you've got Adolf Hitler. And isn't it funny how close those two look? You think about it. Were not for a little bit of a different haircut. Lots of extras on this. I haven't seen. I should really watch this soon. There's a beautiful speech. If you don't want to watch the whole movie, just Google or go to YouTube and put in Charlie Chaplin impassioned speech. You'll probably get the speech that comes at the end of this, which is just a beautiful speech on getting along, getting along in the world and having people get along and having the end of war and how futile war is. Yeah, amazing. It was a high definition digital restoration. I have to watch this soon. Some things real. This is a movie that I'm ashamed I haven't watched it on Criterion yet, because it really is a wonderful film, and I highly recommend this one to anybody who is interested in Charlie Chaplin, Adolf Hitler, the kind of the caricature of both, I guess, of the Little Tramp and Adolf Hitler. And this is, you can have it either way. You can have it that way. It says it's just, this is a really good film. I haven't seen it in so many years. It's from 1940, 125 minutes long. I may watch this one tonight. This is a great movie. Glad I'm doing this, because I might not have come across that one. We're up to 17 minutes. I'll do some more too. I see people seem to like the longer videos. So I'll do a few more. This movie I'm torn on. It's a good movie, don't get me wrong. 128 minutes in color from 1997. It's a David Fincher movie starring Michael Douglas. It's called The Game. But this is one of these movies, and I'll probably watch this one again, but it's one of these movies that, certain movies I have that I say to myself, will I watch it? It's kind of like, I'm trying to think of an example. Without giving too much away. Well, I keep trying to think of another movie that is similar to it, but when you know, when there's a plot device that's used that it's either an integral part of the plot or it's going to be a surprise aspect to the plot, once you kind of know that surprise, it taints the watching of the movie in the future, and I think that's my case with this. Good movie. I'll have to watch it. I'm saying to myself, I don't know if I want to watch it again, but I guess I'll have to watch it and see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll enjoy watching it, even though I've seen it and know the ending. There's a lot of movies I know the ending. I mean, I know the Psycho scene with the shower. Doesn't mean I can't enjoy it, right? Even though I know what's going to happen. It's kind of like that with that movie too. It's up here. I'm going to grab another stack. Let's go with what do we have here? What do we want to go with? Well, let's go with something right here. Let's go with all these box sets I have here. Starting with this one. This is director approved by one of my favorite directors of all time, and that is Ingmar Bergman. And I have that in common with Woody Allen and probably quite a few other filmmakers. Ingmar Bergman is a legendary director and has done some wonderful movies, including well, there's a whole ton of them, isn't there? I was gonna go through some of the ones he's done, like The Magician and Wild Strawberries, and Seventh Seal, one of my favorites, and Persona, which I also own, and many others. But this box set, this film trilogy by Ingmar Bergman is one I picked up. I've had my eye on it for a long time. I believe it's only on DVD. If you have Hulu Plus, you can go out there and watch these. I wanted to own them for a lot of reasons. I'm a collector for one. It's the film trilogy by Ingmar Bergman. Through a Glass Darkly, Winter Light, and The Silence. And there's the sign. This is director approved. That's why I left the plastic on. I didn't have something big enough to wrap around this. So you get 4 DVDs with this. Through a Glass Darkly, Winter Light, The Silence, and Ingmar Bergman makes a movie. Interesting documentary. I've seen bits of all these, and I've watched... which one did I watch? Let me see. I watched Through a Glass Darkly, the first of the 3. Well, let me read you what it says on the back, because I find this interesting, and I don't know. I don't think I can summarize it any better. In 1960, Swedish director Ingmar Bergman began work on 3 of his most powerful and representative films, eventually presented as a trilogy. Already a figure of international acclaim for such masterpieces as The Seventh Seal and The Magician, which I mentioned, Bergman turned his back on his expressionism of the 1950s work to focus on a series of chamber dramas, smaller works with smaller casts, exploring faith and alienation in the modern age. Collaborating with a new cinematographer, the distinguished Sven Nykvist, and evoking searing performances from his refined cast, Bergman unleashed Through a Glass Darkly, Winter Light, and The Silence in rapid succession, exposing moviegoers worldwide to a new level of intellectual and emotional intensity. Drawing on Bergman's own upbringing and ongoing spiritual crises, the films of the trilogy examine the necessity of religion and question the promise of faith. So these are movies about the existence of God, the lack of faith, and Through a Glass Darkly. Each one of these has their own DVD in here, which I like. Here's Through a Glass Darkly. And what this says is, while vacationing on a remote island retreat, a family's already fragile ties are tested when Karen discovers her father has been using her schizophrenia for his own literary means. As she drifts in and out of lucidity, her father, Gunnar Bjornstrand, and her husband, Max von Sydow, very famous Max von Sydow, and her younger brother are unable to prevent Karen's harrowing descent into the abyss of mental illness. Winner of the 1962 Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film, and featuring an astonishing lead performance by Harriet Anderson. Through a Glass Darkly presents an unflinching vision of a family's near disintegration and a tortured psyche further taunted by God's intangible presence. Through a Glass Darkly. High definition transfer, exploring the film, a video discussion with Ingmar Bergman biographer Peter Cowie. New essay is in here, original U.S. theatrical trailer, and so on and so forth. 89 minutes, black and white, from 1961. Love this movie. I haven't seen the other 2, but I'm going to let you know about them. And this is another set that I really need to, plow into and get through. They're all great movies, every single one of them. Each of the discs and the booklets are kind of cool. We have that. This is Winter Light. God, why did you desert me? With Winter Light, master craftsman Ingmar Bergman explores the search for redemption in a meaningless existence. In this dark depiction of spiritual crisis, a small-town pastor, Thomas Eriksson, Gunnar Bjornstrand, performs his duties mechanically before a dwindling congregation. When he's asked to assist a troubled parishioner, Max von Sydow, with his debilitating fear of nuclear annihilation, Thomas, that's the priest or pastor, is terrified to find that he can offer nothing but his own uncertainty. Beautifully photographed by Sven Nykvist, Winter Light is an unsettling look at the human craving for personal validation in a world seemingly abandoned by God. I love stuff like this. And this is shit that's right up my alley. This whole, searching for God and wondering if he exists and try to, explain his motives or her motives or its motives or whatever you want to call it. All interesting stuff to me. Yeah, these religious topics always, always get to me. It makes you think on all sides, not just pro God or anti God or whatever you want to call it, but on all sides. The last one, I guess I can show this. I don't see why not. Interesting pictures here. The boy gets to give that nice lady a bath. I haven't seen this movie either. It's called The Silence. I think it's the most powerful of the three. Read about it. Traveling home by train through a country seemingly on the brink of war, two sisters, the sickly, intellectual Esther and the sensual, pragmatic Anna, along with Anna's young son, Johann, are forced to disembark in an unknown city in order for Esther to rest. Attempting to cope with their alien surroundings, the sisters resort to their personal vices while vying for Johann's affection, and in doing so, sabotage what little remains of their ambiguous relationship. Regarded as one of the most sexually provocative films of its day, with captivating performances by Ingrid Thulin, Gunnel Lindblom, and Jörgen Lindström. I don't know how I'm doing on these Swedish names. Ingmar Bergman's The Silence offers a brilliant, disturbing vision of emotional isolation and a suffocating spiritual void. Yeah. Some strong stuff there. That's The Silence. There's the back. All of them look kind of similar here in this set, but what a wonderful set to own, really, and to watch. And Ingrid Bergman makes a movie. Ingmar Bergman makes a movie. Beautiful silhouetted view there. And here's the inside here. There's stuff here. Quote from Ingmar Bergman on the inside. Here's his quote. I think I have made just one picture that I really like. Hard to believe. That is Winter Light. That is my only picture about which I feel I have started here and ended there, and that everything along the way has obeyed me. Everything is exactly as I wanted to have it, in every second of this picture. I couldn't make this picture today, it's impossible. But I saw it a few weeks ago, together with a friend, and I was very satisfied. Interesting. Well, yeah, I haven't seen Winter Light yet. That is, of course, the one with the priest, pastor. I'll watch that soon. So this is about making Winter Light. The scene is 1961 and Ingmar Bergman is making a movie. While planted on the scene as apprentice to Bergman, Vilgo Schloman, who directed I Am Curious Yellow, suggests to Swedish television that they take the opportunity to record with this acclaimed director. In August, showman and television crew, maybe it's yeoman, might be a silent S, and the television crew begin to capture what would become a comprehensive 5-part documentary on the making of Winter Light, offering views of set construction and lighting, rehearsals and editing, as well as intimate conversations with Bergman and members of his cast and crew. Footage from the film's Swedish premiere delivers immediate audience reactions and the critics' reviews on the following day. Originally recorded on 16mm film, the unique television series Ingmar Bergman Makes a Movie is presented here in its entirety for the first time outside of Sweden. 146 minutes long. So that is what I think is just a fantastic box set. And by the way, anytime you want to buy a box set on Criterion, wait for... Criterion will run it like a flash sale once in a while, which I'm waiting for the next one, because I think I'm really close to getting a free movie from them, a free Blu-ray. And one other thing I mentioned about Criterion Collection, I mentioned a couple things. When I bought a case, I bought a movie and the case was cracked. So I wrote, I have an email address for someone. I'm not going to share it on here, but if anybody has a problem with the Criterion, let me know. And I'll give you the name of the guy that can help you out from the Criterion Collection Company. He sent me a brand new case. And also, not through him, but through just a general inquiry, I purchased a DVD instead of a Blu-ray. And I know the difference in price. Not a lot, $5 maybe. Yeah, I guess it's the difference between $19.99 and $14.99. And didn't they send me I just sent them back the DVD and they sent me the Blu-ray for no extra cost. And free shipping. It was amazing. I ordered it from them directly. Let's see.